Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm.
All right, welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast. I am one of your hosts, Laura Sturm.
And I'm Josh Rohr. This is episode 81. Welcome. So we're going to start off with a little recap of how Team Roar did at the Georgia State meet this past weekend. We had 19 lifters compete, and as a whole, we finished in second place. So pretty happy with that. But everybody individually did really good. I'm really proud of how people did. So we'll do a quick rundown. First lifter on the list, Gretchen. She lifted in the open, or I'm sorry, in the bench only division, but she went 0 for 3. But we kind of knew that was a probability going in because she's actually competing in the Arnold in 2 weeks, like a week and a half. And our goal was just to kind of see how the shirt was going to fit and do in meet situations. And I think this was very beneficial. So she, to put it into perspective, she opened with an American record and took 3 shots at it. We actually, we're very close on a few of them, and it's just little misgrooves and technicality things that we can clean up. And I think was a big part of, I think she's going to hit that pretty solid at the Arnold. I think this was a good practice run with it. So on paper, it doesn't look good, but for the big picture of what we were trying to accomplish, I think it was very beneficial. So next up, we had Ashley Hanna. She went 7 for 9. It was her first meet back in 3 years. She qualified for nationals. It was pretty exciting to have her back on the platform. She was kind of helping coach the last couple of years, and she actually is going to graduate school and things like that. So she's very busy. So it was nice to have her back on the platform.
Awesome.
April Gadsby went 7 for 9. She hit all meet PRs. She set some goals out when she started training with us. One of them was to squat 225. She ended up squatting 242. A couple other exceeding expectation lifts. So she's really gotten a lot stronger, and I think she's got a huge upside still left to go. Olivia Valela, she went 8 for 9. Her third squat was 402, which would have been a 2.5 kilo PR. She actually buried it, went super deep, came back up, and as she was locking out, it was kind of a grinder. It started sliding down her back. So as she locked out, like her knees unlocked just a little bit, like trying to stop it from sliding down her back. So it ended up not counting. But at the end of the day, she needed a 7.5 kilo PR to pull for the win. And she grinded that one out too, and made it and ended up winning the 75 kilo class. So she broke the state record bench and total with that performance. So super proud of her. She works awesome. Really hard. And that was a really close battle with Elizabeth Turner. And we talked about that afterwards, Olivia and I, that that was a really big accomplishment to compete with a lifter of Elizabeth's caliber, and I anticipate that being a back and forth battle for years to come. So I think that was kind of a neat situation there.
It makes you a better lifter to have that.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Jenna Weinstein, she went 6 for 9. She actually missed her second attempt deadlift. Her opening attempt deadlift actually won the weight class, but for team points, all of the 60 kilo weight class and below scores together by dots. And after she missed her second, another lifter actually pulled ahead of her for team points, and she had to come back and make that missed attempt on her third to get back into first place for the team, and she did. So that was super impressive. She actually made it look pretty convincing. I think she just got a little bit rushed on her second attempt and, came back strong on her third. That was super impressive. Awesome. Amy Pancake went 6 for 9. Her broke the American record squat on her second attempt, and we actually went up for a third, and she was just a little bit high. She stood up with it as well, but just cut the depth a little bit. And then she only got one bench, but Amy's also competing in the Arnold in 2 weeks, so this was kind of also just like a test run / mock meet type deal, except on the actual real meet competition platform. So she went 225 on her second bench and just misgrooved it a little bit. Clearly had the strength for it, but we decided to go ahead and go up anyway to what did we go up to? 231, I believe, which no, we might have went to 102. We went 107.5, which is 237, which would have broke the American record bench. And she just kind of, it was almost there, but just got a little bit out of the groove on that one as well. So again, we could have repeated at 225, but again, we were trying to see where we're at. So I think that's definitely going to happen at the Arnold in 2 weeks as well. So I thought that was really good. So she ended up with she hit the American record squat, pulled a PR deadlift. Her bench opener was also a PR bench. So she had a PR total as well. So pretty proud of her there. Alicia Webb had a pretty crazy day. She went 9 for 9. She broke the American record squat, bench, deadlift, and total in the raw division. And she was also entered in the equipped division, obviously just lifting raw, and she broke the squat, deadlift, and total in the equipped division. So she literally broke 7 American records in one performance. And to be honest, it looked like she had a lot left and everything. All of those lifts were meet PRs too. So I think we finally got a little something figured out with her training, and I think we're gonna have something impressive. I think at the Arnold, even more impressive, I guess, than that.
She went 9 for 9, got an American record squat, American record bench, American record deadlift, and total in raw and equipped.
Correct.
In one meet.
Not too bad, huh?
All right. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So that was super cool. Then we had afternoon session. We had Dimitri Lamp. He was a youth 1 lifter. He's 8 years old. He broke the American record deadlift on his second attempt, and then we went up a little bit and he broke it again on his third. And afterwards, Gino was like holding his arm up and basically letting him get the applause from the crowd. And his mom was in the front row, and he like ran over, dove under the crowd stanchions and basically tackled her. That was pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah. Wesley Toller, he went 5 for 9. Missed his first and second squat on depth. Something we've been working on, but obviously need to work on a little bit more, I guess. But the impressive thing, he came back on his third attempt. We actually went up a little bit as well, which, on paper you probably should never do, but we did just because it looked so easy. And, I really was, I guess, paying attention to how his training went and everything. So I knew he was good for it. So we went up to 2.5 kilos under his PR, which was only 5 kilos up from his opener. And just basically gave him like down call till he got down there, hit depth and came back up. So he got in the meet after missing his first 2, which if anybody has ever done that is a very mentally hard thing to do. So pretty proud of him there. I think that's a big mental hurdle to get over, and to be able to execute on the platform is huge. He ended up then with a 2.5 kilo PR bench and just 2.5 kilos under his PR deadlift. He went for a big 10 kilo PR deadlift and just barely missed it. So overall ended up with 2.5 kilos just under his PR total, which I think, all things considered, only getting 1 squat and kind of going for a big pull on a third and missing, I think to be that close to a PR total is still huge.
That is.
Yeah. Chris Whiteson went 9 for 9, hit a 2.5 kilo PR bench and deadlift, and ended up with a 10 kilo PR total. So that was a pretty good. I'm not sure if he's ever actually gone 9 for 9. He's been doing the state meet every year since 2011. And I think I want to say we always miss our third bench if I remember correctly, or most of the time. So to go 9 for 9, hit those PRs, I think was a huge meet for him.
Awesome.
Yeah, Nathan Booker went 7 for 9. He tied his PR bench. He had a little bit of depth issues as well with squat, but finished strong. Will Ruff went 8 for 9. He missed his first squat on depth as well, and had to pull a 2.5 kilo PR deadlift to move into first place in the 181 class. He ended up second overall because there's another lifter that pulled after him, and actually, I thought, again, I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but I actually thought there was downward motion on the guy that pulled for the win, and it did come up 2 reds, 1 white, but immediately the red switched to white afterwards. So everybody's like, oh, and then it switched, and everybody's like, ah, but the one referee did call downward motion, and I have to say I agree with that. But needless to say, Will ended up in second, which is huge for him. I mean, it was a really good meet, good performance by him. And he finished in third place overall for the middleweight team scoring. So it was pretty good. Matthew Martin went 7 for 9 in his first meet. He had a really good day. Ballard Childs, he went switching to the bench only. He had his hip bothering him a little bit, so he actually he went 1 for 3 in the bench only. He opened at just under a PR and then missed his second attempt, and then went up just a tiny bit and missed on his third. So we got a little bit of work to do there, but overall I think he's still getting stronger like crazy. The guy's still a teenager, so there's still a big upside there.
Awesome.
Rex Paulie, which is Caleb Williams' son, stepson, I guess technically, went 6 for 9 and just missed his third deadlift for second place, but he's competing next month at the high school nationals. So fully expect him to put together, a few more attempts and really kind of surprise some people with his total. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's in high school. What?
I know. Isn't this crazy? Like,
really
I remember him like crawling around on the gym floor, like, I don't know, maybe a year old, while we were training. And now that the kid's like playing high school football and lifting at high school nationals, and it just reinforces the fact that I'm getting old.
You and me both.
Yep. So up next we had Jensen Taylor, who went 8 for 9. And the missed lift was actually a past third squat. He just turned in a 0. So he had a pretty solid meet overall. Our last 2 lifters, John Lamp, he went 8 for 9. His second deadlift qualified him for nationals, and then secured third place for the Masters team scoring. So he went on to end up making his third attempt deadlift, even though he didn't need it for placing or anything. It was just kind of a little icing on the cake, and boosted his stats a little bit. And then Cordell Estrada, he went 6 for 9, but we had a little mix up somehow on his opening attempts. And I personally checked every single lifter's opening attempts in session 1, session 2, and session 3, and did not do it in session 4 where he lifted. And we only had 2 lifters there. And somehow he was supposed to open at 215 kilos, and he ended up opening at 230 kilos.
Wait, say that again.
He was supposed to open at 215 kilos, but he had somehow turned in 230 kilos. So 15 kilos more than he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
significant.
So yeah, basically, so he's opening at 507 instead of 473. Our last warm up was 445, expecting to open at 473. Long story short, he got his opener, but in the process tweaked his knee. So we passed his second and third squat. But even so, he pulled it, or benched a 2.5 kilo PR. And then after bench right before deadlifts, we lowered his opener as low as we could. First place we looked at the scoreboard was going to be out of reach, but there were 2 other lifters in third and fourth that had potential to sneak up and beat him. But he had a heavier pull than them. So what we were able to do is actually lower his opener to just enough to keep him ahead of the other 2 lifters. And then we went up 2.5 kilos for a second and passed, just let it time out. And then we turned in, like, I think something outrageous for his third, just so we could sit back and watch everybody else pull first. And then we lowered it to what he needed to pull to get back into second place, which ended up being, only 5 kilos over what his original opener was going to be, is what he needed for his third attempt to pull back into second place. And he pulled it pretty easy. So he did really well, ended up in second place in the 110 kilo class. So pretty proud of him there.
Nice.
So yeah, that's pretty much the quick summary of everybody. Like I said, everybody did really well. Well, again, on paper, like we had the one bomb and a couple 1 for 9s and everything, but I think in the big picture, like we were wanting to get, I guess, kind of a feel for like in Gretchen's case, like the Arnold coming up and things like that. So pretty happy with how everything went. And, obviously we wanted to win as a team. That's always the goal, but there were 11 teams there and we finished second out of 11. So I don't think that's anything to rub your nose at. So I'm pretty proud of everybody. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, maybe not takeaway, was just the, and we talked about it before, but just being able to be there in the moments with everybody. And that was, to me, there's no comparison. Like I love doing that and being there, and it was a great meet. So
yeah, being a coach instead of a meet director.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, when you have 19 lifters lifting for your team, basically. Yeah. That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. It was a lot of fun.
Very nice. All right. Well, we're going to go over our movie soundtracks next week. So we're going to keep everyone in suspense and move on to the powerlifting situation. So here you go, Josh. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. A friend asks you what you want for your birthday. You tell them a 46 Titan Katana straight sleeve bench shirt or slanted sleeve. What's SS?
Straight sleeve.
Straight sleeve. Thank you. Okay. Straight sleeve bench shirt for your birthday. But on your birthday, that same friend looks at you in excitement and you open up the present to find a Titan F6 bench shirt. Ooh, what do you do?
Make them put it on and bench. No. I think there's a couple things here. I think the friend is probably not a power lifter that asked you what you wanted. So I think part of this is your fault for asking a very specific powerlifting piece of equipment, or for asking for a very specific piece of powerlifting equipment to a non-powerlifting friend. But I think I would assume, I think Titan usually has a pretty good return policy. So I would just, say thank you and return it for the one you need. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, those things are not cheap. So I'm happy with whatever I get because I can exchange it towards whatever I really am looking for, I guess. So I'm ecstatic that I got a brand new bench shirt, period. So it's the wrong one. I'll send it back, get a new one, get the correct one. But yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you just open it and be like, wow, you actually got me a bench shirt. I was half kidding when I said that because nobody really ever asked me. And I was never that specific either if they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. I'd be like, yeah, open it up, be like, wow, that's so cool. I got a bench shirt. Smile a lot and then return it and get the katana shirt that you want. Just make sure it's the same color. So when they see you benching in it, they think it's the same shirt because they aren't going to know the difference.
Well, I think the other thing to look at this here too is like you said, if anybody asked me what I wanted for my birthday and I said that, I would 100% not expect somebody to actually buy that because that's expensive and whatnot. So if somebody actually did, then I'm super happy. Like, yeah. So
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And the color thing, like, yeah, I guess I probably wouldn't have even thought of that. I would have just exchanged it and nobody would even know, or, I guess they would know if they saw me lift, but if they're not a power lifter, they probably wouldn't see me in it anyway. So
true story. Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
But hey, free bench shirt. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
I know, right? Take it. That's a win.
Exactly. Win. All right. For our new lifter tip, wait for the referee commands. Yes. So the squat commands would be squat and rack. For bench, you have start, press, rack. Deadlift, you only have down. So, of course, we posted this before, but people still forget to wait for the commands.
Yeah. So the only explanation I can come up with for why people are still missing commands is because they haven't listened to our podcast. So
That must be it.
So if you have anybody, there were quite a few people that missed commands at the Georgia State meet this past weekend. So if you know any of those people, please refer them to our podcast. We can help.
That's right. The little things, but man, so many people will just get into a meet and be like, well, I do this in the gym all the time. And that's great and all, but yeah, it's different at a meet. You have those commands. It's like trying to win Simon Says and not knowing how the game works at all. I mean, like you have to listen to the commands. You can do all the weight you want, but if you miss by the commands, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is, and that's really a hard way to miss a lift. Like if you just flat out can't get it, then it's like, okay, I was just not able to. But when you do it and it's just like taken away for something technical like that, it's hard pill to swallow sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, cool. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us. We're gonna definitely start revealing is the word I'm trying to come up with. The words are hard. We're gonna start revealing the top 5 movie soundtracks next movies. Let me start that over. We are going to start revealing the top 5 movie soundtracks next week. Wow.
Yeah, it's happening. Yep. Finally, at long last.
At long last. So in the meantime, I do want to make one other quick announcement. We are. Do I want to make this announcement or not?
No.
I will, but I won't give any specifics. So we actually have a new coach that will be starting to take clients on March 1st. So basically, if people are interested in joining our Team Roar Powerlifting, for programming, online coaching, things like that, we will be able to start accepting new clients again starting March 1st. So that is pretty exciting, at least to me, because I've been unfortunately telling some people no, which is a very hard thing to do. But we now have, again, availability starting March 1st. So if you are interested in coaching from us, you can go to teamroar.com and click on the Get Started link, and you can fill out the beginning questionnaire and schedule a free Zoom consultation with yours truly and kind of get the details and find out if that is something that, is a fit. Let's be honest. Some people don't want to have to deal with me because my jokes and personality just aren't as funny as others. So
awkward.
Oh, there's a really, dang it. There's something that was really, I know what it was. I'm not going to say who said this because it was awkward and it might embarrass this person, but there was a, I don't even want to. Okay, it was a lifter on our team. I won't say who though. Pulled a deadlift and peed their pants a little bit. So
it happens.
It happens, right? No big deal. And they're like, this is the first time I ever peed myself pulling a deadlift. So I go, all right, PR. And like in an instant, they go, a true PR. And I thought that was hilarious.
Dad joke.
Yeah, no, it is whatever. I was like laughing uncontrollably for like literally 30 seconds and I couldn't stop. So I thought it was pretty clever and funny.
We should kind of talk about that on a podcast sometime. Like how sometimes girls pee on the platform. It's a real thing.
It is.
It's maybe an awkward thing to talk about, but I think we probably should talk about it sometime.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind talking about it. I mean, it's so we'll talk about that next week. How about that? And I'll just preface it with like, I don't care if you pee on the platform. What I care about is if you stop pulling because of it or stop trying. That's the part that I would have a problem with because, I don't know. That's just, but I let them know that up front because some people, when it happens the first time, like they're embarrassed and they stop and just want to like hide. But I just try to like up front, like when I meet somebody, or not really when I meet them, but like the first time I start talking to them or working with them, if they're ever like, yeah, I felt like I was going to pee my pants there. I'm like, all right, well, it's time for the talk. So in the future, if you ever feel like that, I don't care. Like if you pee your pants, pee your pants, keep pulling, keep squatting, whatever. It happens to pretty much everybody at some point, and don't let that be a reason that you miss a lift or anything. So that's my perspective. I don't know. Maybe everybody on the team hates me for that. I don't know, but it is what it is.
All over our platforms. It's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about it next week.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. If you are not following us on Instagram, check out the podcast at PL Ballads Podcast. Don't forget to follow Team Roar at Team Roar. Shocker. We post a lot of tips, videos, things like that. And again, if you are interested in joining the team, we will have openings again beginning March 1st. So get on that website, fill out the questionnaire, schedule a Zoom consultation. We will catch you guys all next week. Later.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.